Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ben here. I'm back again today doing another video. The subject of today's video is going to be on the Golden State Warriors. So yes, the Warriors have lost the finals. They are now only 3 and 2 in the finals instead of a much more impressive looking 4 and 1. They have Kevin Durant, who is a free agent and has an opt-in but may opt out, or he may opt in. Either way, he's going to be out for the entire next season. They also have Klay Thompson, who is a free agent, and maybe they'll sign him to a max contract or maybe not. Either way, he's going to be out all of next season. The Golden State Warriors are essentially now left with a core for next season, right now, currently, of just Steph Curry, Draymond Green, DeMarcus Cousins is also a free agent, so I'm going to discount him. So Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Kevon Looney, Quinn Cook, Sean Livingston. Those are your guys. That's the core of this team. Those are your main pieces that you're going to be building this team around. Today, I'm going to outline what I think is a maybe controversial thing to say, maybe a bit of a backstabbing thing to say if you're a Warriors fan. It's much more of a business oriented take rather than a fan type of oriented take, but I think that it's what the Golden State Warriors should do. So basically, I'm going to outline what their plan should be during this offseason. And to me, it's quite simple. There are some contingencies to it based on what Durant and Klay Thompson do, but I will be going over what I think their plan should be. So this plan is contingent on Kevin Durant signing with another team, essentially. So for this trade to work, the the Warriors would have to let Kevin Durant walk after he gets, let's say, like a max offer from the Nets or the Knicks. That is part one of this plan. And that is actually a pretty realistic possibility because a lot of teams now might think that they have a better shot to sign Durant since other teams are going to be wary of him having a big injury like this. So uh, people may think that uh, less teams will be interested and people will be scared off by this. So then the Nets or the Knicks might be more inclined to actually offer him a max deal right now, just so that they can be sure that they get him for the remainder of that contract. Again, he could also just totally opt into his remaining deal, make like 28 million a year for the Warriors while being injured all of next year and then go into free agency. But something tells me that he might actually be inclined to just go for the max contract. Either way, the first part of this plan for the Warriors, in my opinion, is that Kevin Durant goes elsewhere, does not want to resign, does not opt in. Okay, so the second part of this is the part that's probably going to look like the most backstabbing and cutthroat, but this would be do not resign Klay Thompson if you're the Warriors. I repeat, do not resign Klay Thompson. Yes, you may feel loyalty to him. Yes, he is a splash brother. He is a good player. He is a very good guy for their culture. He's won them championships. He's helped be a part of 3 championship efforts, 5 finals appearances. He would have won finals MVP in this last finals if he wouldn't have gone down injured and if the Warriors would have won. But yeah, you gotta let Klay go, in my opinion. I think they're at this pivotal crossroads right now where Durant may come back and be like Gordon Hayward and just not be the same player. Same with Klay Thompson. These dudes are gonna miss a year. And I think we forget that Paul George the is not the normality. When he came back from being out for a year, he was back to being an all-star by basically the next season. I don't think that's normal. DeMarcus Cousins tears the ACL, comes back this year, is a good player, is not the same guy. Is a guy that gives you 15 and 9 rather than 28 and 13. Um, Same with Gordon Hayward. He goes from a guy that gives you, let's say, 22, 5 and 5 to now a guy that gives you 11, 5 and 5. Just not the same players. And I think you run that risk with Durant and with Klay. And in my opinion, if you're the Warriors, you've got a 29-year-old Draymond, you've got a 30 next year Steph will be 32. I don't think you want to waste the last couple of years of these guys' primes. I think if you were to ask the Los Angeles Lakers, who this last season wasted one of the remaining years of LeBron's prime, surrounding him with guys who, while okay players, weren't that great, and they basically knew they weren't going to get very far in the playoffs, maybe second round at best. I don't think they'd want to repeat that, and they obviously don't because they just traded for Anthony Davis. And so if you're the Warriors, why waste a year of Steph and Draymond's prime? Why not just retool and just go for it and continue to go for it? So that leads me to the main point of this video, which is I think if you are the Warriors, your plan of action should be we try and sign, first of all, Jimmy Butler, and second of all, either a guy like Chris Middleton or a guy like Tobias Harris or a guy like Nikola Vucevic. Um, one of those three should be the second guy that they try to sign, but I think for sure Jimmy Butler. And I know this seems like some sort of backstabbing or cutting bait with your stars and not really having their backs, but Danny Ainge did the same thing with Isaiah Thomas, and that really worked out for him because he got good value back in Kyrie. And yes, the Celtics didn't do great this last season, but the season before they did get to the Eastern Conference Finals, and I think that it was good for him to move off of Isaiah rather than right now paying Isaiah $30 million a year to be the player that he is now, which is greatly diminished from what he was during his MVP caliber season. And so I just am always of the mindset that you don't want to do what the Rockets just did last offseason, where they were like, oh, Chris Paul's injured, but we really like him, and he was been a good player for us this last year. He deserves the max. They're set paying him $40 million for the next 3 years, which they definitely regret. And so I think that the Warriors should heed those examples that have come before them, and they should just cut bait. These guys, even if they come back from injury, they're not going to be as good as they are before. Paul George is really the exception that I'm thinking about of all these guys that have gone down with major injuries and come back. As I say, you look at some of the other big guys, Gordon Hayward, DeMarcus Cousins. Those guys didn't come back the same players, and I don't think they'll be the same players regardless of how many minutes they get or shot attempts they get. I think that some of their explosiveness is just zapped. You look at other guys like Penny Hardaway, never really recovered from a big injury. Anybody, you go down the line, Chris Webber got a big injury in 2003, right when he was still in the middle of his prime. Never the same player after that. He got it in 2003 in the playoffs, and then he missed almost most of the 2003 to 4 season, and the Kings were never really the same contending team after that. So, in my opinion, don't make a huge financial mistake out of what people have done for you before. Yes, those are great memories, and those might have been awesome times, but why mortgage your future because you had a good past and you're too afraid to make the cutthroat move? In my opinion, you use that money from Klay and Durant and you put it towards Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris, or Jimmy Butler and Chris Middleton. I think that if you sign Jimmy and Chris and you get a starting lineup that looks like, let's say, Steph Curry, Chris Middleton, Jimmy Butler, Draymond, and Kevon Looney, that's still a super team, and you're still the favorites in the West, and probably still the NBA favorites overall. Because let's not forget, the Raptors did win this title this last year, but that's because Durant missed basically the whole series, and Klay missed 1.5 games, and DeMarcus Cousins missed some, just basically wasn't himself and all that stuff. But if you have a healthy big four of Steph, Jimmy Butler, Draymond, and Chris Middleton, with all that spacing, I think that you are the NBA favorite still, and I like that team a lot. And now, to get into this, as I said, I don't think you owe Durant and Klay anything. Those dudes, they'll get max offers from somewhere else. Klay, if he doesn't get the max offer from the Warriors, I know a team like the Nets or Knicks is going to be chomping at the bit to sign him. And so he doesn't really have anything to worry about, and neither does Durant, because Durant will get the max offer from whoever. And there's actually tons of teams with max cap space this offseason. You've got the Kings, you've got the Pacers, who are a team that no one's talking about in free agency. You've got the Mavericks, who have a max free agency slot that they could sign one of those guys. You've got lots of teams, Nets, Knicks. There's lots of different options out there for people. And so I think that those guys will basically be fine. And if you're the Warriors, yes, you're losing a fan favorite in Klay, but would you basically rather have the Warriors be a first-round exit next year and then come back and try and be whole again when Curry's 33 and he's already not super athletic, and so that's just going to continue to go? And yes, you could come at me with the counter argument of Steph's a shooter, he doesn't need to be athletic, but Steph's a shooter who relies a ton on his quickness and his skill set. That while he doesn't appear outwardly athletic, he is like quietly, secretly athletic in that he does a lot of his things. A lot of his things are dependent on hard cuts and crossovers and things like that that do go away when you get older and your physicality's done, or when your physicality deteriorates and just your body overall. And so I don't know. I don't want to wait until Steph is 33, Klay is 31, Durant is 32, and then they're all just trying to um, come back and basically coach back a dude like Durant and Klay. And I don't know. I just what if Durant and Klay come back and they're what Gordon Hayward was this year, and then you're stuck with basically a team that'll make the second round but will be nothing impressive. I just don't know. I don't know. I don't want to risk my future like that if I'm the Warriors. So if I were the Warriors, I would try and sign Jimmy Butler and another key free agent, probably like Chris Middleton or like any of the plethora of them. Even like Al Horford would be a good fit on that team. Vucevic, as I said, D'Angelo Russell would be even a good fit, shooting guard for that team. I just think they have a number of different options that they could go with. That's all I got for today, though, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you keep tuning into the channel, and if you have comments, feel free to leave them below on your thoughts on the Warriors and what they should do next. And again, hope you guys have a good day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.